love it.
I'll fetch the suitcase from the van.
All right, lovely jubbly. Can you believe 30 years since Del Boy, Rodney and Grandad appeared on our screens in the first episode of Only Fools and Horses?
'Cause where it all comes from is a mystery.
It's a comedy series which 1 minute makes you laugh, the next minute can make you cry. Brilliant. Brilliant writing. The sitcom, which ran for 10 years, was watched by more than 24 million people at its peak. They'd kill you for that now in the world of television. Here's a taster of, Del Boy giving it his stuff.
Bonsoir.
Bonjour, monsieur. Vous restez à l'hôtel?
Défense de fumée. Avec vous du bonnet?
Oui, merci.
Garçon, dos du bonnet par favor. Dankeschön.
Qui de la France êtes-vous?
Ah oui, je t'aime, je t'adore. Solipon d'Avignon.
Hey, Jackie,
Hi.
join me for a drink.
I would love to. I think I got stuck with that little French fella over there.
Of course, and the sad thing is, I know, because you know I love my comedy, but I know exactly what that scene's from. She's not French at all, but he started speaking French, and that's how the whole thing sort of escalated. Let's talk to Kevin O'Sullivan, who's a TV critic for the Sunday Mirror, who joins us on the show. Morning, Kevin.
Morning.
Just genius writing, great acting. I mean, it was a gift, wasn't it? Everything you wanted from a sitcom, it had, didn't it? Really?
Yeah, it did have the lot. You know, you got to remember that it started off. The first series did so badly that the BBC thought about axing it, but those were different days, and they stuck with it. They'd never do that now.
No.
People in television don't do that, but they stuck with it, and of course it grew into, you know, arguably our favourite comedy of all time. Certainly one of the best. I think in 1996 it got the biggest audience ever for a sitcom, which was 24.5 million. So, you know, yeah.
That's amazing, isn't it? Like I say, they'd kill you now for that, wouldn't they?
They really would, they really would. But if it was on now, you know, and on top form, it would still be getting a very big audience. Because as you also say, it had that pathos about it. It wasn't just hilarious laughs. It was, it made you cry as well as laugh.
The fascinating thing I've seen watching it and revisiting it again is that in the first couple of episodes, Del Boy calls Rodney, he goes, "Oh, you plonker," and the audience don't react because that kind of thing grew. It grew its own phraseology, terminology, and almost catchphrases, didn't it?
Yeah, well, in your clip you had the lovely jubbly was another one.
Yeah,
became part of the national vernacular now, isn't it? I mean, people still say all the things that were invented in that show. And of course, you've got to remember that it was written by, you know, the brilliant John Sullivan, who so sadly died recently. But he was, you know, just a powerhouse. And we still, I mean, although the series finished in 1991, you know, it kept making those brilliant Christmas specials till about 2003, which, you know, sort of took over from Morecambe and Wise as the thing we looked forward to watching on telly every Christmas Day. I remember one with a fantastic title, To Hull and Back, where they literally did go to Hull and back. You know, so it was part of our life for basically almost a quarter of a century, and of course still is, because it's always on, you know, those UK Gold channels.
Yeah.
It's still on the sort of old, those programs that keep rerunning old classics.
Although I said the other week, you know, it's really weird because the BBC have been showing it in the afternoons, and if you're probably at work, you know, if you're like me, you get up and you go home a bit earlier, you get to see these things. But there's something nice about it being on BBC One, you know. I've seen it on UK, was it Watch now, whatever it's called?
Yeah.
But there's something nice about it being back on home, you know, when
it's like its natural home.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, every time, you see, if you're channel surfing, every time you come across Only Fools and Horses, you think, "Oh, I've seen that one," and then you start
watching. Yes, I watched the Chandelier one.
Watch the entire episode.
Yeah,
but it's like Fawlty Towers, you know, another the other great comedy of all time. You know, how many times I don't know about you, but how many times have I seen every single episode? I mean, it must be, you know, 30, 40, 50, 100, I don't know. And every time I see it on the TV, if I've got nothing else to do, I will watch it, and it will make me laugh.
I think it's more of a man thing, though.
Extraordinary.
My wife doesn't understand why I watch programmes that I know the words to, more or less.
But it works, doesn't it? I mean, it really does work, because, and that must be the hallmark of truly great television comedy. No matter how many times you see it, you want to watch it.
You mentioned John Sullivan. I thought it was quite an interesting case, because for a while, I don't know if it was John or the BBC, kind of portrayed him him as the scene shifter done good. You know, he kind of done this, but of course he'd written gags before. He cut his teeth on Dear John, which was a fabulous short-lived sitcom as well. He didn't go straight into Fools and Horses, did he?
No, but you know, I think the story of John was that, you know, he wasn't classically educated. He was, you know, a working class boy made good. I don't think he had a qualification to his name. Didn't go to university, but was this sublime writer. That really is his story. And don't forget that, you know, there's still the spectre of Only Fools and Horses in this thing with his comedy Rock and Chips, which continues. Now the only reason that doesn't sort of prosper that well is because people always compare it with Only Fools and Horses, because of course it's a prequel, and it stars Nicholas Lyndhurst as Rodney's father,
Freddie the Frog.
Yeah. Now but it's not about. It's a pretty good show, you know.
It is.
You know, but of course people say, "Oh, it's not as good as Only Fools and Horses."
It's not the same thing, though, is it? He didn't try and write this. You know, it would have been easy for him to try and write another, you know, a kind of Only Fools and Horses before Only Fools and Horses, but he didn't do that, did he? He was quite a clever writer.
Yes, I mean, in terms of a spin-off, it's sort of very different, you know. But it will always be judged by its predecessor, if you like.